there is no uncertainty. There is uncertainty.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matparah vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita dhyayato vishayan punsah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammohah sammohat smriti vibhramah smriti bhramshat buddhinashah buddhinashat pranashyati ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayanindriyaischaran atmavasyair vidheyatma prasadamadigacchati. See, these 5 verses we just recited, how beautifully Bhagavan concludes in the 5th verse. If you make the right effort, you will get prasadam. You will get prasadam. If you make right effort, you will get prasadam. Right effort in the direction of your own happiness, right effort in the direction of your own peace, right effort in the direction of your peace and others' peace, right effort in the right direction, because we are in need of something much more than mere money. You see, it's not just money alone is what we want. Money alone is not what we want. Much more than money. We want much more than money. Therefore, you see, how to be happy despite having money. That is called right effort. Did you hear that? Trying to making an effort to be happy despite having a lot of money. Because otherwise, when you have a lot of money, it's not easy to be happy. Nahi samjha? It's not easy to be happy when you have a lot of money, because you will use your money to make yourself miserable. Yes. You will make yourself miserable. You will use money to make yourself unhappy. You'll use your money to make yourself unhappy. Because ambitions come, desires come, vices come, ego comes, vanity comes. Then you forget even what to talk and what not. So much of money. Therefore, you don't even know how to talk to your parents-in-law, patite. Start talking at people, hurling words. They say we hurl stones. Like that, we start hurling words at people. Will it all contribute to happiness? Therefore, what should we learn? Right effort in the, when Bhagavan says right effort, not right effort for money. When you have money, make a right effort to be, how to be happy despite wealth, despite riches. How to be happy. That's called spirituality. Making money is materialism, all right. But then when you get money, how to make yourself happy. Not that how to make money is materialism and how to enjoy it is spiritualism. It's all gadbad. Make money and then how not to make oneself unhappy. How not to use money to make oneself unhappy is spirituality. So, if I have a lot of money and still if I have to be peaceful, then I need self-control. Then I need to be humble. Then I need to be good. I need to be free from vices. I need to be less impulsive. That means what? You have more homework to do to be peaceful when you have money. Yes, you have more homework to do. This all comes under what? Right effort. When Bhagavan says in the 5th verse, when you make right effort, definitely you will get prasadam. Any effort in the direction of happiness, any effort in the direction of peace, any effort in the direction of self-control, any effort in the direction of understanding always gives you prasadam, which is in the form of clarity, shanti. In fact, that is all, it's all spirituality. Clear? Anyway, now we are going to the next verse. Yatato hyapi kaunte. The present topic is self-control is very difficult. Krishna himself says. Yatataha means even if one makes an effort. Even if one makes an effort. Yatato hyapi kaunteya. He api. Yatataha. He api. Kaunteya. Hey Arjuna. Even if a person makes an effort, and if that person is a Purushaha, is a conscious being, Vipaschitaha, and even if he is a very informed person, even if an intelligent person, an informed person, a reflective person, a scholarly person, is a wise person, by comparison with others, he is indeed a wise man, a scholarly man, but when he makes an effort to control himself, to control his impulses, to control his ambition, to control his anger, greed, jealousy, etc., when he tries to control his mind, well, indriyani pramathini. Bhagavan says even his senses are very, very forceful. They just he is waylaid by the senses, and the senses take over. The senses take over. Emotions take over. Impulses take over. Anger takes over. Even though he has been making an effort not to be angry, and suddenly he is just snubbed and the anger takes over. Even though he has been making an effort not to be impulsive, impulses take over. Ambition takes over. Anger takes over. all these imperfections take over. He has been making an effort to be perfect and the imperfections take over. Even in the case of a man who is a scholar by comparison with others, a wise man by comparison with others, a very evolved person, a matured person, a sage-like individual, even in his case, the senses take over. As in the case of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra always comes to the rescue. Vishwamitra helps us understand the force of the senses. Aji Vishwamitra. And he was a big man. He was a very resolved, a man of great, strong resolve. A wise sage. He was a sage. A man who left his kingdom and became a sadhu. Not an ordinary person. A man, a king who renounces the kingdom and becomes a sadhu. And even in his case, the senses become very forceful, very powerful. Become very powerful. Indriyani pramathini. Just first pick up the meaning of the verse, the literal, the words. Indriyani pramathini, the senses are strong. Even in the case of a man who is a great scholar, who is a sage-like, who is a thinking person, informed person, matured person, sadhu, looks like almost, is like a sadhu. Haranti prasabham manaha. Haranti means rob. Haranti means rob. Prasabham means by force. Haranti means rob. Prasabham means by force. Manaha means one's akal, one's mind, one's intelligence, one's discretion, one's wisdom. Senses rob him of his wisdom. Senses rob him of his intelligence. Senses rob him of his discrimination. Senses rob him of all that he had decided, His decision to have self-control is just gone. Senses rob the mind. Senses rob the person of his mind. This is the language. Now we have to get the sense out of it. That's called study. Studying is different from reciting. One is recitation and seeing the meanings of each word. That is called this is the word and this is the meaning, this is the word, this is the meaning. Trying to get the meaning of each word is still a part of recitation. I'm telling you. Did you hear this? Even understanding each word, even getting at the meaning of each word is a part of recitation. But to get the sense out of it, how is it relevant to me? Does it make sense? Getting the sense of what I recite, what I read is called study. That's called studying. That's called adhyayanam. Getting the sense out of it. Now, when we look at this whole verse, now we have to understand, in the overall context of the Shastram, in the context of our life, in the overall context of our experiences, in the light of all our experiences. You have to hear this phrase. In the light of all our experiences. Not in the light of some concepts gained from here and there. No. In the light of our experiences. The truth is that the sense organs don't tempt. Sense organs are just daily. They only bring me the information about the world. Therefore, indriyani, when we say the senses don't tempt me, neither they attract me, neither they pull me, nor push me There is no pull and push, you see, from the senses, because they are all means of information. The sense organs are pramanas, pratyaksha pramana, means of knowledge of the objects. This is clear. Therefore, what really attracts us, takes us, pulls us towards the objects is only the inner rasaha, the taste for the objects. Eyes don't pull me towards the objects, ears don't pull me towards the sound. I may hear something and ignore, I may see something and ignore, I may taste something and ignore, touch something and ignore. Perception need not bring about desires. Perceptions by themselves need not bring about cravings. It is the taste for the objects that pulls me, attracts me towards the objects. That rasa, that taste. Therefore, we have to get the sense like this. It is the taste for the objects that really takes man towards the objects. Therefore, the villain is not the senses. What did I say? The villain is not the senses. When you go to an eye specialist, you are not going to rectify the villain. The eyesight is not the villain. Eyesight is a friend. Senses are our friends. They help us live. Ears are our friends. Eyes are our friends. The sense of touch and taste and smell, these are the senses. These are faculties. They help us live. They are our friends. But what is it really that really distracts us towards the objects is the taste for the objects. Now, the next question is, what is this taste for the objects? Why is the taste for the objects? We have already seen the topic. The taste for the objects is something that is timeless. Within the context of embodiment, when I find myself with the body, I also find myself with a taste for the objects, and the philosophy behind it, the vision behind it is this: when I take myself to be the form, I feel limited, and that feeling that I am limited, you have to hear this Vedanta clearly. Therefore, don't expect all the time some halka things to be talked. Now we have to talk some important things, some very, very profound things. You have to imbibe certain profundities also in life. When a man is born with the sense that I am the form, then he feels incomplete, and that sense of incomplete, the sense that I am confined to the form, the sense of confinement to the form also implies the sense of incompleteness, and therefore the sense of limitation to the form, and the sense of being non-eternal like the form. If I am the form, then I am non-eternal as the form. If I am the form, then I am as limited as the form. And if I am the form, then I am as imperfect as the form. Then if I am the form, then I am subject to death as the form. These thoughts that I am non-eternal, I am limited, I am imperfect, I am incomplete, run counter. They run contrary to my nature, and therefore I never like them. Therefore I try to fight my own sense about myself. This struggle in life is nothing but trying to overcome my sense of my incompleteness. I don't want to accept my sense of my incompleteness. I don't want to accept my sense of non-eternity. I don't want to accept my sense of imperfection. I don't want to accept my sense of being confined, bound to a form. There is a protest, there is a kind of a revolt, there is a protest against my own sense. My protest against my own sense is the struggle. My protest against my view about myself, my protest against my own sense, my own view about myself is called is the struggle in life. And now, in order to overcome this sense that I am a passing phenomenon, that I am an aging phenomenon, that I am a struggling phenomenon, that I am a physical phenomenon. So in order to overcome this sense, I depend upon my senses, and that is maybe by enjoying something pleasant, I can forget that sense. I want to beat that sense of incompleteness. I want to overcome that sense of incompleteness by getting absorbed in seeing something that I like, the pleasure of a form, pleasure of a taste, pleasure of touch, pleasure of smell, eating, drinking, or the sense of accumulation, etc., etc. One always wants to get, immersed. One wants to just beat his own sense of imperfection. One wants to beat one's own sense of imperfection. One wants to beat one's own sense of incompleteness, non-eternity. One wants to beat one's own sense of limitation and non-eternity by way of indulging, by way of enjoying pleasures. Therefore, running after the sense pleasures is a strategy that the jiva adopts to overcome his own sense of incompleteness. You have to hear this sentence again. Running after the sense pleasures is a strategy that the jiva adopts, that an individual adopts. Running after the sense pleasures is a strategy that an individual adopts in order to overcome the sense of imperfection. But then, because there is no alternative to the sense organs for him, there is no known alternative. There may be an unknown alternative, but there is no known alternative. Man doesn't have a known alternative. Therefore, he goes on trying the same sense pleasures, though time and again they have proved that they can't help you overcome the sense of incompleteness. Sense pleasures contribute to self-forgetfulness, but not self-completeness. Did you hear that? Didn't hear, no? You didn't hear. Why? Because कभी-कभी घर चले जाते हैं, बीच में घर जाते हैं. We go by air and come back by air. I go by supersonic and come back by supersonic. घर जाते हैं, वापस आते हैं, थोड़ा घूम के आते हैं. By that time, 3-4 sentences are over. I'm telling you, sense pleasures can only contribute to self-forgetfulness. You try to forget the past. You become quiet. You get some tranquility in every pleasure. You get some peace in every pleasure. You get some peace, but that doesn't mean really the sense of incompleteness is overcome, because the sense of incompleteness is there because I don't understand my nature, which is complete. I don't discern between me and the body. And therefore, this strategy, this trend of going after the sense pleasures, this trend of going after the sense pleasures, it has become synonymous with the individual. This trend of going after the sense pleasure has become synonymous with the individual. I cannot remain an individual without running after sense pleasure. Therefore, this taste for the sense pleasures has become a part of me. The taste for pleasures has become a part of me. Me, I can't remain as a biological individual without looking for my satisfaction, without looking for fullness, it's not really mere satisfaction, we want the fullness. Do you know what we want? We want a state in which the whole struggle ends. We struggle and struggle and struggle to reach a state in which there is no struggle. He is not a concept. He is not a concept. Nobody entertains a desire to perpetuate it. Nobody entertains a desire to perpetuate it. Everybody entertains a desire to fulfill it and become free from it. See the irony. I entertain a desire in order not to desire. Hey Rama, I entertain a desire in order not to desire. I entertain a desire. I don't entertain a desire to perpetuate it. If if my desire is to perpetuate a desire, then I should never work for its fulfillment. Entertain the desire and keep it as a permanent fixture in the mind. An embellishment. Like you have earring, you can have a mental ring. What is the mental ring? A desire. You entertain a desire and then keep it forever. But no, the moment the desire comes, I can't relax until I fulfill it. I may call it fulfillment. I may say I want to fulfill it. Actually what man wants is freedom from it. Because desire takes away all my relaxation. Even though one says I want to fulfill my desire, actually the desire is not to fulfill the desire. The desire is to be free from the desire. Similarly, man struggles also to be free from the struggle, but he doesn't know. He thinks that by enjoying the sense pleasures, he is going to be free from the struggle, but the sense pleasures don't bring the struggle to an end. Give me only a temporary self-forgetfulness, and afterwards I am again the same. But the taste for the objects continues. This is a taste, timeless taste. Therefore, what is it that pulls man towards the object? Is it the objects? Is it the senses? No. Then what is it that pulls man towards the objects? The taste. And even the taste, I will go one step ahead. I have taste for the objects because I have the belief that by enjoying them, I'll be better off. I'll be fuller. I'll be more satisfied. My struggle will end. My sense pleasures will liberate me from the struggle. Is what? Belief. Universal belief. And that universal belief itself is timeless belief, is the result of self-ignorance. The taste for the things is the result of self-ignorance. The belief that the world will make me a better, they will make me, the sense pleasures will make me fuller, is a timeless belief. This timeless belief in the efficacy of the sense pleasures in making me full, this timeless belief is what is called, in the language of Krishna, rasa. What is it called? Rasa. And what pulls man out is this taste, is this belief, Belief is a view. This is a view. This is not a belief put into me by a book. Are you hearing this? It's not like a Christian belief. Somebody came and put into me, there is a heaven. That belief is different. This belief is different. It's a view. It is a wrong view. Everybody lives with the view that the sense pleasures will make me fuller, happier, more fulfilled, etc., etc. This anadi timeless view is itself called the taste for the things. It is this that needs to be tackled. Not the senses have to be closed. Not that really run away from the objects. Run away from the objects where? बताइए, ऐसी जगह बताइए जहाँ ऑब्जेक्ट्स नहीं है, मैं भी वहीं पर जाना चाहता हूँ. In fact, every sadhu would like to go to a place where there are no objects. Which is that place? Swamiji, that place where Rishikesh. Rishikesh में objects नहीं है. Beyond Rishikesh, are there no objects? It's meaningless. Wherever you go, you are within. It's like traveling in space to reach a point where there is no space. Can you travel in space to reach a point where there is no space? Can you? Can you? Can you travel? Therefore, the effort, as Bhagavan says, right effort will give you prasadam, not wrong effort. Running away from the objects is not going to give you prasadam, or keeping the eyes closed and sitting quiet is not going to give you prasadam. Because neither the objects pull me, nor the senses pull me. In my heart I carry a view that the objects will make me happier, enjoyments will make me happier. That view is the villain. That view can't be controlled. That view has to be corrected. And correction of that view is called vairagyam. That correction of that view is called vairagyam. Clear? Therefore, what is the answer to the taste for the objects? What is the answer? It is vairagyam. And what is vairagyam? Correcting that view. It is not correct. Nobody can become full through sense pleasures, because Krishna has already said, and our experiences tell us, agama painaha anityaha. Every pleasure has a beginning and an end. And every pleasure, I am going to say something very important. It is born at a second and gone also the same. As it is born, it dies. It's a process. You are enjoying the drink or something, some good food or some touch, some music, some form. You are looking at a mountain and you are enjoying, and at every second there is a pleasure gained. And as the pleasure takes place in your mind, when you say, it is a process, and as it is born, it also disappears. It becomes memory. Therefore, now this process of trying to enjoy the object and making oneself and trying to forget one's problems and trying to feel little happy or peaceful or tranquil, this process itself, you have to bring about that process for which you have to work. Therefore, even to bring about a moment of pleasure in yourself, you have to work for it. It is much more tiring. A pleasure, the run-up to a pleasure is more tiring than the pleasure gives you happiness. It is more tiring than relaxing. Did you hear that? The run-up to a pleasure, think of the run-up to the pleasure. Think of the run-up. Going through the bumpy road to Mussoorie. That is called the run-up to the pleasure. And stay there for 1 hour and say very nice. Everybody says, excellent, excellent. What is excellent about it? You never saw the trees in Delhi? What is great about that? Because we always see what do the others say. Good? Okay, must be good. Therefore, the run-up to Mussoorie is the bumpy road, so you have to really tire yourself to get a moment of pleasure. That is why our Shastra has got a knack of saying, behind every pleasure there is a lot of pain. And after the pleasure is gone again, pain. It's not being cynical. It's not being cynical. It's not being sadistic. This is not being pessimistic. This is not being negative. This is being wise. Yes, calling spade a spade, is it being negative? Calling spade a spade negative? I say calling spade a spade is being wise. Is being wise. One day we will all be dead. Is it being negative? Is it being negative? To think of one's own death, is it being negative? To get up in the morning and the first thought is, one day I am going to die. Is it being negative? I think it's being wise. I think the body should be, the day should begin on a factual note. Yes. The day should begin on the notes of facts. Say, one day I will be gone and therefore let me make the best of the day. Let me live my day correctly. Let me use my day for my own, for a betterment, become a better person. I have to look at myself, to look at the seer, to look at what the Shastra says. In fact, you can be more kind to others. In fact, the more you think of the death, the better you will be. The less you think of the death, and then you will be living in a dream world, I am going to be here for the next 1,000 years, and then keep on accumulating for children and grandchildren and their children and everything. What is it? You are killing yourself. Why do you want to write destiny for others? You meet your destiny and then be off. Don't linger on. And therefore, here Bhagavan says, hey, this particular thing, it is the view that has to be corrected, and it is that is called Vairagyam. It is neither closing the eyes that is the answer, nor the objects that is the answer, and therefore, that thing has to be understood. I can never become fuller by enjoying an object, because it has a beginning and an end. Every pleasure has a beginning and an end. I have covered the meaning of the verse. Now, there are certain things to understand in this context. You see, I am going to change. We can argue like this. Swamiji, what if I enjoy a pleasure and forget about it? I enjoy a pleasure and forget about it. It is just really, otherwise life becomes very bland, life becomes very uninteresting, it is just insipid, uninteresting, bland, colorless. आदमी उदास हो जाता है. थोड़ा बहुत pleasures. Yes, Bhagavan also says there is nothing wrong in enjoying certain pleasures which are necessary for survival. Yes. Pleasure itself is not the villain. Do you know what is the real villain? In fact, after enjoying the pleasure, we keep thinking about the objects. You just see, when I am enjoying the pleasure, I am only thinking of that pleasure. And then once that pleasure is over, then look at your mind, what is it doing? It is only thinking of the objects. When you are walking, the mind is remembering the objects. Either it remembers the objects or remembers the past. You are all the time thinking of the past and the objects. When you are reading a book, the mind is, the major part of the mind is occupied with memories. Full attention is never given, because the major part of the attention is occupied with memories, the objects. When you are walking, the mind is with the objects. When you are reading, objects. When you are hearing, objects. In fact, you are never occupied totally with something on your hand. You are never. The mind is never totally occupied with something, an occupation on the hand. When you are reading a book, your whole mind is not there. When you are listening, your whole mind is not there. When you are eating also, the whole mind is not there. In fact, your whole mind is never there. Only a part of it is there. The rest of it is all habitually, mechanically occupied with objects. I keep thinking, you see, it's almost like sleep. A part of it is once in a while you register what is around. The rest is all in memories. It is this mechanically thinking of, mechanically being lost in memories of events and objects. Mechanically being lost in memories of objects and events. And mechanically thinking about mechanically entertaining certain anxieties. Whatever it is, this mechanicalness is what comes in the way of understanding the truth. The mechanicalness. Why do I say it is mechanical? Because whether I like it or not, it goes on. That's not being mechanical. I don't have to do anything. When you go for a walk, your mind is thinking about so many things. The whole waking state is nothing but being mechanically lost in memories of events and objects. Therefore, when you have to concentrate on something, it is difficult. I have to forcefully bring my attention. And also not the whole attention I can give, only a part of it I give. And therefore, here Krishna says, moving from object to object is being mechanical. Moving from object to object is never deliberate. Moving from object to object is mechanical. I keep on moving from object to object in my memory. In fact, suddenly you become deliberate. The entire mechanicalness is broken the moment you switch your attention from the object to the subject. This time. If you have to think of the very subject, the entire mechanicalness is broken. I have to become all deliberate to do it. I have to become deliberate to do that, to look at the observer of the object. If I have to look at the rememberer, just to move from memory to memory is mechanical. But in order to look at the rememberer, I have to become deliberate. In order to look at the seer, I have to become deliberate. In order to look at the subject, I tell you, you become deliberate. There is no mechanically drifting towards the subject. The attention never drifts mechanically to the subject. No. That is why self-ignorance continues. Why? Self-ignorance can't go away unless I deliberately switch my attention from the realm of objects to the realm of the subject. In switching the attention from the objects to the subject, I become deliberate, and the more I do things deliberately, when I am deliberate, the mechanicalness is cut. Mechanicalness is cut. The more we cut the mechanicalness, the more we overcome the mechanicalness, the more we become deliberate, the less we become mechanical. In fact, you enjoy being deliberate. And whenever you do things deliberately, you are always doing the right things. Whenever you switch your attention from the objects to the subject, it is a right effort. To be angry is being mechanical. Another example. To be angry is what? Do you ever become deliberate in becoming angry? Do you become deliberate? Don't tell anybody you are being deliberately angry with me. Then they will say, did you not hear in that class what did Swamiji say? They will unnecessarily remind you of the class. Therefore, don't say deliberate, because one is mechanical in becoming angry. Anger is mechanical. It's an impulse. Impulse means mechanical. It just goes on happening. अपने आप आते हैं, अपने आप जाते हैं. Greed, mechanical. jealousy, mechanical. All imperfections are there mechanically. All imperfections are there mechanically. And you control them, controlling them requires deliberation. I become deliberate in controlling them. That means what? In order to control the impulses, I have to become deliberate. It's a deliberate effort. And in indulging in the impulses, you don't have to be deliberate, it goes on mechanically. Which is more enjoyable? Which is the right effort? In fact, mechanicalness is not an effort, understand? It is not even right effort nor wrong effort. It's not an effort. Mechanicalness is what we call swabhavikam, in the sense that is what is there. That is what man is born with. Man is born with these mechanical things. Then he has to become deliberate in stemming the mechanicalness. To stem the mechanicalness in oneself, one has to become deliberate. This deliberate effort to stem one's mechanicalness is what we call purushartha. This is called purushartha. Purushartha means what? Man's deliberate effort in the right direction. When he makes a deliberate effort to stem the impulses, to stem the mechanicalness, to stem the mechanical distractions, mechanical angers. Sometimes, one is not even aware what he is talking, he just says something. Sometimes you shout. Shankaracharya says, Gurumapi akroshati. He says the mechanicalness of man is so much that sometimes one shouts at his own teacher. Hey Brahma, one shouts at his own parents. One shouts at parents. That's what is it? Is it a deliberate effort or mechanicalness? Mechanical, impulse. But in order not to shout, deliberate effort. And not shouting is purushartha. Shouting is mechanicalness. Therefore here Krishna says, my dear, well, it is this mechanical wandering in memory of events and objects between two pleasures. Even during the pleasure, I am lost in mechanicalness. And in the next pleasure, I am lost. In between also, I am lost. This is what is the problem. The problem is non-availability of my attention when I want it. The non-availability of my attention when I want it. Shastra says you are the truth, look at yourself, but the attention is not available. Because it is so mechanically used to living in memories, I can't bring it back. Because it is in charge of my attention. It is in charge, all that mechanicalness is in charge of my attention. What can I do? One becomes helpless. You want to know what is helpless? Helplessness is not really in lack of object. Sometimes there is helplessness. You cause your helplessness. For example, the most glaring example is you get addicted to drinking. Then you can decide not to have it, but you can't decide. Look at that helplessness. Look at that helplessness. Look at that help. It is not just, it is not a helplessness. It's not that kind of helplessness, you see, like an object. It's it is in your hand not to drink, but yet you can't decide. You can't decide. You can't decide. Therefore, that's a very sophisticated helplessness. If you want it. It is a very sophisticated helplessness. I can't do. I know it is nothing. After all, just not to drink is not a big deal. Not to drink is not a big deal, but I can't decide. I can't do that. Supposing I don't have money and then I feel helpless, it's not a great helplessness. I can always borrow money. Anyway, everybody is borrowing from the banks. The whole America is living only on borrowed money. In fact, America has spent out not only America's money, but the whole world's money. That is why the whole world is in trouble. Anyway, everybody is borrowing and surviving. I can also borrow money, and it's not a great helplessness. But supposing I have a vice in my mind that affects me physically, that affects me mentally, that affects my family, that is affecting the health of my children, that is breaking down everything, and all that I have to do is just to throw away that particular habit or a vice or whatever it is. Need not be vice, it can be a simple indiscipline. But I can't do it. I can't do it. What is that? Helplessness. Helplessness. You see, it is helplessness. In that manner, even though I want to really look at myself, because the Shastra says you are the truth is so close at hand, you are not a form. I want to look at myself, but yet I feel helpless because my mind is mechanically occupied with the objects. Therefore, here Krishna says, every student of truth is helpless because of that taste for the objects. Lack of vairagya is a handicap in the life of a student of truth. Lack of vairagya is a handicap. Therefore, envy a man with vairagyam. You don't have to envy with someone with a bag full of diamonds. They are not to be envied. Vairagyam is a matter, it is enviable. Vairagyam is enviable. Right thinking is enviable. Self-control is enviable. Self-reflection is enviable. Rama is enviable, not Ravana is enviable. Who is enviable? Rama or Ravana? Ram's thinking is enviable, not Ravana is enviable. And therefore, dwelling on the objects is the problem. Just supposing I enjoy a pleasure and leave it is not a problem. I will give you a story. Remember this thought. Supposing I have to survive through some pleasures. I have to eat food. I can't survive without eating food. I can eat and forget about it. I eat and forget about it. I don't dwell after that. I don't dwell on it. Supposing until next meal I keep on dwelling on food. That's a problem. Supposing at lunchtime I have lunch and forget and switch my attention to something else. Then I am not dwelling on it. I am not dwelling on it. Then pleasure is not a problem. But pleasure becomes a problem if I go on dwelling upon the same pleasure, same object of pleasure, even after the pleasure. In this connection, I'll tell you a story. This story I had heard long ago. I think after hearing that story, hardly I have ever narrated it. This story, there were two individuals walking to Badrinath. Walking. Now there is motorable road, but in those days there was less motorable road and more a footpath. For walking. You walk and reach in those days people always used to walk and reach all the places of pilgrimage. Places of pilgrimage. Are you able to follow? There was an elderly sadhu and there was a brahmachari, and both were walking. Just another few minutes. Don't have to be here. हमको भी जाना है. Everybody has to go. There was an elderly person, there was a brahmachari. They were all walking along the Ganga, and there was a woman, went for a pot of water, then she slipped and fell into the Ganga, and she was crying for help. Okay? Crying for help. Then the brahmachari, his young boy, he says, Maharaj, somebody is crying for help. Why not I go and help her out? He says, what are you talking? You are a brahmachari. You are not supposed even to touch a woman. You should keep away from women. Therefore, you should not go and help her. Let her really, whatever is her destiny, let it be worked out. Let her destiny, let her face her destiny. If she is supposed to drown, let her drown. Why should you go and break your vow of not touching a woman? This brahmachari is not very convincing. What is there if I go and save her and touch her? तो क्या हो गया? Then the Maharaj said, no, you should not go, वगैरह वगैरह. And he said, no, I am going. He went there. After a lot of argument, he said, no, I feel like going and helping. Because right in front of our eyes something is happening. There is somebody helpless. He jumped into the river, took her, brought her out, and then helped her. And then when she was all right, she left her there and then comes back running and catches up with the Swami, because the Swami in the meantime did not even look back. He just went on, and the brahmachari runs and catches up with the Swami. And then there was silence between them for a long time, because there was an argument. Whenever there is an argument, then after argument, what is there? Silence. Nobody talks. They are not on talking terms for a long time. And then quietly both are walking. And then after a little while, then the Swami broke the silence. आपने जो किया वो ठीक नहीं किया. You understand? जो आपने किया वो ठीक नहीं किया. The brahmachari asked, why, what is it? You should not have touched a woman. You lifted her, brought her out, and all that. What is this? What brahmachari you are? Then this person said, Maharaj ji, I touched her, lifted her, and then helped her, and left her there itself. You are still carrying her in your mind. You are still carrying her in your mind. मैं तो वहीं पर छोड़ दिया. आप तो अभी भी you are still carrying her. He says, this is not very convincing. This kind of vairagyam we are not interested. What is interesting, what is wrong is dwelling, not doing a thing and then leave it. Have a pleasure and leave it. Do an action and leave it. Switch on and switch off. You do an action and leave it and move to another thing. There is somebody helpless, help her and then move ahead. Don't linger on, don't dwell on, don't hang on. Don't hang on to the pleasure. Eat lunch and then don't hang on. Move to something else. You don't have to go on. You don't have to be like a Punjabi. You are talking about food for the last 2-3 hours before lunch. And you are talking about food 2-3 hours after lunch. Some are talking about food. Some are eating food. Some are preparing. Some are getting right. That is okay. It is also a kind of anandam, all right. But one should not do it very seriously, dwelling upon objects. Dwelling upon objects is the villain. Why? Because that takes away my attention. A pleasure itself is not a problem, but dwelling upon the object of pleasure, that mechanical dwelling upon the objects and memories of the events is the problem. That is the sense that we have to get. Because pleasures also, certain pleasures, legitimate pleasures, how can you renounce? How can you renounce food? How can you renounce drink? How can you renounce shelter? How can you renounce the basic needs, basic comforts? fresh air. These are things which are necessary for survival. And respect survival and respect all the means of survival. Why? Because the means of survival is sacred. Because survival is sacred. Because surviving, understanding the truth. Understanding the truth is facilitated by survival. Therefore, the truth is sacred. Understanding the truth is sacred. Therefore, living is sacred. And all that helps us live is sacred. What is not sacred is, well, losing control over one's attention. Losing control over one's attention is not sacred. That's the sense that we can get out of this verse, and we'll go to the next verse in the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva